In today's video, I'm going to talk about Tesla, and I'm going to show you an example of where we saw a trigger and then what we need to watch for to look for a new potential buy entry in this one. Okay, so one of the reasons why I like to use triggers is because it filters out a lot of these zones that will never hold. Okay, so for example, well, you can see where this last high was made in Tesla. It was at resistance that came from basically extensions of these two prior swings and a 100% projection of this prior rally swing of $58.78, which was very similar to this rally swing of $57.76. So because of the extensions, I was looking for possible resistance to the rally at that time, because we did have a buy setup that was actually a very simple symmetry setup where I ran 100% of this prior decline over here, projected it from the new high here, ran a 618 retracement that just happened to overlap, and that was a zone where we hit and held, and there were buy triggers for an entry on the buy side. But now that Tesla is falling apart, first let me show you what happened after we made that high. Okay, so this next chart is a 30-minute chart of Tesla, and for the swing trade triggers I use either a 15-minute chart for an aggressive swing trade trigger, except that one will get stopped out more often because sometimes you're just going to have false entries because it's a little bit of a quicker entry, or I use the 30-minute chart, which is the not so aggressive entry. But you can see when we made that high here that you did see the breakdown and the moving average crossover to the downside. I use a combo of the 834 EMA on an intraday chart to indicate, you know, an entry. And here you did have the crossover to the downside, indicating that it was time to exit. And if anybody was okay with counter trend trade, they could also short it. And the other thing I like to see in a trigger is a pattern shift. So in this case, I wanted to see a prior swing low taken out, because that shifted the pattern of higher highs and higher lows to lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so when both of those things occur, that's my official trigger. And at that point, let's say if you would have taken the trade, your initial risk would have been either above the cluster or above the high made prior to your sell trigger, which occurred, you know, like right over here. Okay, so now going back to the setup chart where I'm now comparing this current decline in Tesla with quite a few of these prior declines, and I actually added some additional ones from over on the left hand side of the chart, and I'm projecting those and going to look for possible support. Before I do that, let me just eliminate these old ones so that we don't yeah, those don't get in the way. But bottom line, we're going to watch well, you're slightly through this first support decision, but notice that there's absolutely no buy trigger, because we'd have to see this, you know, blue bar cross back above the red, the 8 cross back above the 34. We haven't seen it. The other area that we're going to watch, or actually two areas that we're going to watch, 344.21 to 346.37, and then also 331.17, 336.63. So if we can test and hold one of these zones here, we're going to go down to the lower time frame chart and then see if it fires off a trigger entry. If it does, then it's worth placing the bet. If it doesn't, then you're just stepping in front of that proverbial freight train. And it's typically not a good idea to do that, because we can easily just blow through these support decisions. I mean, we could end up seeing much lower prices in Tesla. So again, not worth an entry unless we start to see the reversal triggers. But I still will be stalking this one for a possible low because of the similarity with some of these you know, prior declines in Tesla. So again, I'm stalking this one for a buy trigger against one of these zones. If I don't get it, I'm not going to play it.